Now, in the second meditation, even though Descartes is still doubting the existence of the external world, including the very existence of his own body, Descartes turns briefly to consider the nature of bodies. He does this using an interesting thought experiment. He takes the example of a block of wax, hard and cold. He takes the block and places it near the fire and imagines what happens to it as it warms up. How do we know that it's the same block of wax? All of the sensory properties change. It goes from cool to warm, its scent changes, its color changes, its texture changes, the taste changes, it begins to melt and the shape changes. So everything that we can perceive about that block of wax changes as it heats up. So why do we still call it wax, and why do we think of it as the same wax that was there when we started out? Descartes concludes that we think of it as the same because we recognize it as an extended thing that continuously occupies a space. Now, what Descartes is getting at here, even though it's not going to be until the very last meditation, the sixth meditation, that Descartes concludes that he has enough evidence, a good enough argument to conclude that the external world and material things really do exist. Their existence will be in doubt until the end of the meditations. Even though he waits until then to do that, here at this point he is already asserting something important in his view about the nature of physical things. Just as the essence of mind is thinking, a mind is a thinking thing, a thinking substance, he's going to say that a body is an extended substance. And he's going to say that we know what bodies are not through any of our senses. After all of the properties of the wax that we can perceive by our senses have changed. But we know it only by virtue of something that we understand by our intellect, that is to say, extension. That's something that is understood and studied in geometry. So it's something that we know through reason, not through any of our five senses. So here Descartes, not too explicitly, but Descartes is again underlining this idea that what we understand about things are rooted in things that we know and understand a priori. We understand through reason, independently of any resort or dependence upon sensory experience.